thought they had this in the bag. But look at these numbers. He's still going down. She's still going up. It's just been a crazy turn of events. We are one day away from this election, and I think a lot of people are going to be upset.
We've got clips of people making bold predictions, and let me tell you, some of them did not age well. This is Themba from Black Coffee Podcast presenting on behalf of Black Coffee himself. Get ready for a roller coaster of confidence, miscalculations, and a whole lot of I told you so, or not. Let's get into it.
Okay, so we're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard. Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election. And then I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye. So, I was up all night with many of you. Lots and lots of lives, lots of long lives. I just finished another long live, and I will be doing more lives as the day and the week progresses. So, as you know, Kamala Harris did not win the election. As the numbers stand right now, there were 18 million fewer votes than in 2020. Along, you have to have a huge, huge turnout, and it goes to the Dems, and we didn't have it. And there's going to be a lot of speculating going on about everything that happened, everything that was wrong, every decision that was made, every aspect of this whole thing. And the reality is that Kamala Harris ran the most impressive campaign, mounting and running it and having only 3 months in which to do it. It's unprecedented, and it was absolutely magnificent. I've never seen anything like it in my entire life. Impressive on a level that, she has the campaign playbook. If you're going to win, that's the playbook that you use. She did absolutely everything. The work that she did in every single one of the swing states, work that Hillary Clinton did not do. It's so staggering what the ground game was in Kamala Harris's campaign. The number of people volunteering, the level of excitement, the enthusiasm, all of it. A unicorn moment. Everything was absolutely...
So leading up to the election, there was a lot of chatter. You had everyone from everyday folks to the Nikki Haleys of the world saying that Trump couldn't win. We're going to take a look at some of those Trump can't win clips, and let's just say, some people were very, very sure.
Harris over 270 electoral votes. Let these fools in these crypto markets do something. Let them drive the betting line into a favorable place and then take advantage of it. That's what I would do. I think she's going to win.
And why do you think she's going to win?
He's got more money, got more energy, has a more united party, has better surrogates, and he's stone-ass nuts Okay, when you start talking about lining up a political opponent with 9 people in a firing squad, and then you have the Washington Post and the Los Angeles Times says, "Ooh, I don't want to get involved in this. This is dirty politics." I mean, it's Joe, it's Day. This guy is a loser. He's fat. He's pathetic. He doesn't know where he is. He's confused. He's dazed. And I think people are going to see through that. And, a lot of these macho, guys, I don't think they think it's macho to attack women, attack Puerto Ricans. I mean, I don't think they're or blacks or anything else. And we're going to win this thing, baby. We're going to win it. I'm telling you right now. I feel it in my bones. I'm not backing off. People, oh, man, you're crazy. You just can't say that. Look at the polls. They tied. I'm saying it right now. We're winning. We're going to win. I'm more confident today than I was 2 days ago.
There you have it.
I promise you.
There you have it. And look, I'm old enough to remember when there was a different nominee.
Okay, so let's keep it together, people. I haven't changed my map. Check it out. I still have Harris as getting 349 electoral votes. It's going to be a landslide. I know a lot of you are sleeping better because we're having discussions and you're starting to realize this is very realistic. I also have people saying not only do they agree with me on Florida, but so many people are telling me to change Texas to blue. I'm going to still leave it at red. Look at how many votes we have to play with. Don't listen to CNN or any of the media. They're just going straight off these weird polls, and they keep saying everyone's neck and neck. No, I think she's going to get Arizona, Nevada, and the blue wall, Michigan, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Pennsylvania. It's going to be a landslide. I think they're going to call it Tuesday night too. I don't care what Trump plans on doing.
I have a couple of things to think about for tomorrow, everybody. Number one, Trump's going to lose. He's going to lose badly. He's going to be wrecked. I don't know what the electoral college count's going to be at the end of this, but it's going to get loud and it's going to get hard for him. Their panic is extraordinary. Their events in Georgia and North Carolina are basically about as well attended as a Pokemon card trading convention in Ass Crack, Alabama. This is a campaign in freefall. It's really, really fucked up. And I have from a reliable source inside the Trump campaign that Chris LaCivita was thrown off the Trump travel plane by Corey Lewandowski yesterday. He's denying it to reporters, but it's true. And we've got you got a campaign ending in chaos, and you got another campaign that was able to deploy 90,000 volunteers to knock on 3 million doors. Guys, the better campaign is going to...
They thought they had it in the bag. This person even went to buy champagne to celebrate, claiming that the women of America are making their voices heard, and that reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. They were so confident, they told a store clerk that their vote was wasted if they didn't vote for their candidate. Talk about confidence bordering on delusion. They were even predicting that their candidate would take every swing state plus Iowa. Okay, so a couple of things here. First, the certainty is just wild. Second, you have to wonder where they were getting their data. They were acting like this was a done deal, a total blowout, and yet, well, we all know how it turned out. But to their credit, they did get one thing right. It was a blowout. But not in the way they expected. I'll give them that one. They argue that the campaign had an unprecedented level of organization, a great ground game, and tons of volunteers. Apparently, this campaign had the playbook that you use if you're going to win. They describe it as a unicorn moment where everything was absolutely perfect. So it sounds like they had things all figured out, right? But then they say it was all fake and that the candidate was propped up.
Let's speak some hard truths. If Donald Trump becomes the Republican nominee, we will get a President Kamala Harris. You mark my words. He cannot win a general election. Look at Iowa, look at New Hampshire. He can't get independents. He can't get suburban women. He's losing Republicans who say they don't want him. and will vote for someone else. It's a problem. This is not personal for me. I have no problems with Donald Trump. I voted for him twice. I was proud to serve in his administration. This is about the fact America can't lose again. We lost in 2018, we lost in 2020, we lost in 2022. How many more times do we have to lose before we realize we have got to right this ship? Will not win the general election. You can have him win any primary you want. He will not win a general election. We will have a female president of the United States. It will either be me or it will be Kamala Harris. But if Donald Trump is the nominee, you can mark my words, he will not win a general election. And what I say to everybody is, don't complain about what happens in a general election if you don't really think about that in this primary. We can do better. You look at, these are the two most disliked politicians in America. Look at the polls. Look at what they're saying. 60% of Americans are saying Donald Trump's too old and Joe Biden's too old to be president. You look at the military, they cap retirement at 65. You look at pilots, they cap retirement at 65. We've got a lot to fix in this country. We need someone who can work 8 years straight of hard work, day and night, fully disciplined, with no drama, no vendettas, just results for the American people. That's what's at stake here, and I'm going to continue to stay in and tell people this as long as I possibly can.
So what are you going to do if Trump wins?
Nothing. Going on with my show and making jokes at his expense every week. And that's why this is a great country. Because as crazy as he is, he didn't do anything about it the first time. So I'm just not going to lose my nervous system about, now he could, he's insane. So he could start sending people to Guantanamo Bay. I don't put anything past this guy. He thinks they're eating the cats and the dogs. But am I going to worry about it? First of all, I'm not going to worry about it, Phil, because he's not going to win.
So you think he's just worn it out? You think people are just going to get fatigued?
Enough. I feel
category fatigue.
It's just going to be, we're talking about a few 100,000 people perhaps, but I think it's going to be a little closer than that. First of all, she's definitely going to win the popular vote, as Democrats almost always do now. But I think she will win. I think he will, of course, go batshit insane, as he always does. He won't accept it. His followers, I think, I don't think their heart will really be in it, as it was in 2020. Some of them, there's lots of people who will always be in the bunker with Mrs. Goebbels, taking the poison and giving the poison to the children, because it's better than living in a world without National Socialism. I make an analogy, but I don't say he's a Nazi. But I think for most people, it's just fatigue. Yes, I think it's time.
Okay, so there's some real whiplash in this clip. 1 minute, the campaign is the gold standard of how to win, and the next, it's all fake and that the candidate is propped up. It is almost as if this person cannot believe how well the campaign was run. It's a real head-scratcher and goes to show how narratives can change so quickly. Alright, here we have someone who is super confident and says, "We are going to win this thing, baby." They're feeling it in their bones, and that they are more confident today than they were 2 days ago. It's like, okay, we get it, you are feeling good. They even have a map with their preferred candidate getting 349 electoral votes. They're brushing off the media and saying everyone is just going off of weird polls.
Now Donald Trump costs us, from the U.S. Senate to governorships to school board seats. His message costs Republican parties dearly across the country.
So if he is the nominee, will the Democrats win?
Oh, yeah, he can't win in November of 24. Oh, the math has shown Donald Trump has no chance of winning in November of 24. He wouldn't even win Georgia. If you're a Republican that can't win Georgia of November 24, you have no shot, and he's proven that. So, and not only has he proven it, but the candidates he gets behind in a good conservative state like Georgia lose the race. His messaging doesn't translate. It does well with a hardcore 30-35% base, but he loses everybody beyond there. And no one is undecided about the former president. There's no one out there going, well, maybe I might consider voting. No, you know where you are. He's a known commodity, and so the math doesn't add up. So if Republicans nominate him, then we're saying a vote for him in the primary is effectively a vote for Joe Biden. I mean, that's ultimately...
Trump is the nominee. The election will revolve around all these legal issues, his trials, perhaps convictions if he goes to trial and loses there, and about things like January 6th. We're going to lose if that's the decision that voters are making based on that.
I'm not a Trump fan. I want to win. And if we nominate Trump, we're going to lose. He hasn't won anything since 2016. Mm-hmm. We lost the House in 18. We lost the presidency in 20. We've lost the Senate. We would have won the Senate this time in 22 had it not been for Trump and his nominees in some of our key primary elections. And my guess is we probably would have picked up 10 to 15 seats in the House if it weren't for, his involvement.
And you have to make the case against Donald Trump and convince Republican primary voters two things. One, that he is not electable, and he will not beat Joe Biden. He's lost him before and would lose to him again, and probably Joe Biden.
There's no other conclusion to come to that he's both afraid of me and he's afraid of defending his record. And if I had his record, I'd be nervous about showing up too. And let's face it, guys, by Wednesday, he's going to be out on bail in 4 different jurisdictions. When are we going to stop thinking that's normal? When are we going to allow our country to understand again that nominating someone who's out on bail in 4 jurisdictions is not a winning formula?
And Trump has converted our party into something that we hardly recognize. And so I'm swimming upstream, but it's an important battle this year that we continue to fight for what we believe is important for our country and for our party. We're doomed to lose if we just simply become the Trump entity that's going to be following whatever latest craziness that he advocates. And that's a concern to me. That's why I'm raising my voice. January 6th is a part of it. He's morally responsible.
Again, the unwavering confidence is just something to behold. They are absolutely sure it's going to be a landslide. It's like they are living in a completely different reality. And the dismissal of the media is another recurring theme we're seeing. They seem to be so certain that everything will go their way. It is a bit much, but good for them that they believed in it. Now this is interesting. We've got someone here calling an expert the Nostradamus of US elections. This expert, who's apparently been correct in 9 out of the last 10 presidential races, is predicting a precedent-breaking victory for their candidate. They even break down the criteria and say the candidate has 8 keys, which is the minimum to win. And they double down that nothing will change their prediction. Okay, so the so-called Nostradamus of elections, who has a 40-year track record, was wrong this time. And this is exactly why you cannot rely on anyone predicting the future with 100% certainty, especially in politics. It just goes to show, you have to take these things with a grain of salt. Even the experts get it wrong sometimes. We have people calling it a blowout and claiming that the other side lost badly. There are claims that the other side's campaign was a campaign in free fall and ending in chaos. They say that the other candidate is going to lose because people have had enough of them. We see some strong language here, and it's clear some people were trying to make sense of how the results could have turned out the way they did.
Interviewed 1/3 of the committee members who said they would also like an alternative to Donald Trump to emerge. What does that tell you about Donald Trump's standing right now?
I think he's fading. I've said that for a long time, but he's probably still has, I was talking to a friend of mine in New Hampshire yesterday, probably 25 to 30% support. You get a crowded field, he could come out of there, he could win, but he's never going to be president of the United States. Thank God he's not going to be that. However, he's still a force in the party, but not as strong as a force. And his 2 appearances yesterday, both in New Hampshire and in South Carolina, were underwhelming. But just remember this. Donald Trump, somebody that I fought from the very beginning, is a vessel for people's frustrations and anger. And the person that can beat him will be somebody who is a vessel for something other than that, and maybe a vessel for hope.
Do you think Kamala won? And does that mean she may now win the election?
I think more accurately it says Donald Trump lost. And this is not the worst debate performance I've seen in my career, but it's very close to it. The conversations about people eating dogs and cats, calling the leader of Hungary one of the greatest world leaders, repeatedly missing the opportunity to focus on inflation and affordability, and the complete inability to present his point of view without completely tearing into Joe Biden, into whomever was in his sights. It was a pretty negative performance, pretty pessimistic, cynical, contemptuous, and I think that this will cost him. Yes, I'm trying to decide if I want to go on record, and the answer is yes. I think that he loses because of this debate performance.
It's from the election, and it's about time somebody talks to you, with 2 days left to go in the election. We have to talk to you now, because on election night, you're going to find out very quickly, even though Donald Trump is going to claim victory, within a few hours, you're going to find out that's nonsense and that he lost badly. And I'm just on here now to prepare you, because the last thing we want to hear is the whole, somebody cheated, somebody didn't count the vote. He's going to lose by millions and millions and millions of votes. And you want to know why? Because people have just had enough. Enough of Donald Trump. We don't care what he does. We don't care what he says. We just don't care. All right? So he's going to lose, and he's going to lose badly. And you need to understand, it's just math. More people find him disgusting than find him the Lord Almighty like you do. Okay?
Next guest, known as the Nostradamus of U.S. elections for correctly predicting 9 of the last 10 presidential races, using his own 13 keys to the White House, criteria a candidate must win in order to achieve victory. Well, he now says that he's ready to call the race. American University history professor Alan Lichtman joins me now. Professor, all right, here it is. Who will win the next president of the United States?
According to the keys to the White House, which has been right for 40 years, we are going to have a precedent-breaking victory. Kamala Harris will be president of the United States.
Now, I'm looking at the true keys, the false keys, and you have some TBDs on the screen as well. Under your criteria, Harris obtains 8 keys, the minimum, by the way, to win, according to you. But can any of these keys potentially flip before the election? I mean, you got social unrest. If that breaks out, have you ever changed your prediction?
I have never changed my prediction once I've made a final call. The notion of an October surprise is a myth. All my predictions have been before the October surprise, and they have all held. Social unrest doesn't suddenly emerge. It takes a long time for there to be enough social unrest to turn the key, which requires massive, sustained social.
It's fascinating to watch these reactions in hindsight. The level of certainty and then the shock and disbelief. It really highlights the emotional investment people have in these elections and how they are tied to their identity. The reality of defeat can be really hard to process for some people. Finally, here we have some people already talking about the next election. They say that the other party has no shot and that their message doesn't translate. They also say that their party will be back more energized than ever. They are even naming potential candidates. It's like the election just ended, but they are already planning the next one. The cycle continues. It's like they are already back to the drawing board. It is interesting how the political landscape can change so quickly, and the focus shifts immediately to the next challenge. It just goes to show you how people are always looking ahead in politics. Well, that was a wild ride. It's amazing how confident people can be, and how wrong they can end up being. It just goes to show, in politics, anything can happen. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one.